how did you first discover Maman Brigitte? Because she seems initially to be worlds apart from Bridget.
That's a little old Catholic Ireland for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely, it's right. It's just, I really, going back to my initial journey with Bridget, I actually first felt her energy outside the Catholic Church many years ago through the other world, through my fairy belief and connection. And I believe we don't choose our deities. We come in with that natural affinity towards them. But it was the same when I was penning my book, and it was just for me trying to find, I work with my head, so I needed to know her mythology and her lore as a way of getting a feel for who she is. And it was during that, researching her St. Fred in Wales and St. Bridget also in Glastonbury, that Maman Brigitte resurrected her head. And it was like, oh, this is really unusual, because I speak French also, and it's like, it means Mother Bridget, and okay, I'll research this when I finish my book. But honestly, I've never felt such a connection. I'd say I felt more of a connection to the lore of Maman Brigitte than I even did to the Celtic Mother Goddess Bridget. Yeah, it absolutely flowed. It was just like, I get this, I get what happened. I understand that she is, the Irish Bridget is part of the makeup of Maman Brigitte, and that happened because of so much history that happened with the slave trade, with indentured servitude, with all of that. But to answer your question, it's how I work, it's how my intuition works. I dream constantly about a certain aspect or a book or an idea, and it constantly crops up then. Even, it sounds so strange, but the voodoo hat, I just kept seeing it everywhere. I kept stumbling on different aspects of Irish history, being on the Caribbean. I'm like, okay, I really can't wait to research this. And then I can't wait to feel this energy in New Orleans. Because even with the Catholic point of Bridget, when I wanted to dismiss that, I ended up in Portugal and in her church, where it is said that her skull is present. And there was so much flava about getting there, between just taking a train for about 6 hours, not speaking a word of Portuguese, the church being locked, and then suddenly opening. And when I was standing in front of the skull, I had the same physical emotion run through my body as I did meeting the goddess for the first time. And I was like, okay, this is the same energy. This is my interpretation, is what I'm feeling. And it was the same with Maman Brigitte. The same core feeling is there, but it is different, because the need for her and the need of her people at that time was very different than what we needed in Ireland going back. So she presented herself by constantly nudge, 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 and dreaming about her, which is essentially how I work anyway, and audio, waking up with ideas and with random words being spoken. It sounds a bit crazy, but until I started...
It sounds totally normal to me.
Great. But it stopped, and that nudge stopped until when I started reading and noting what I was learning. And yeah, it was just... Maman Brigitte is all about death. She is a dark goddess, a goddess of the cemetery, goddess of life on the eternal side. But actually, Bridget also had that aspect of her in Ireland, as Psychopompus, the original keener in Ireland. It's just those aspects of Celtic Bridget weren't really allowed. If we do associate them with other goddesses, we're going to vilify them, like the Morrigan or whatever. We're going to just make them exclusively dark goddesses, and we're going to make Bridget exclusively goddess of returning light, and Saint Bridget the returning light of Christ. But within every mother goddess, there is death, birth, and rebirth. So all three do exist. It's just the qualities become more pronounced at different times. But Maman Brigitte is definitely an energy of survival, because that's what was needed at that time. And it's quite similar to what's happening now with gross displacement and mass immigration.